Zoroaster was a prophet who lived in ancient Iran around 1800 BC. The teachings that emerged from his visions of God have become known as Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrian theology's main tenets include the existence of one God and the personal happiness or reward that is the natural outcome of using one's free will to formulate good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. Respecting all life, Zoroaster was himself a pure vegetarian and forbade all animal sacrifice. His universal philosophy is believed to have influenced Greek thought and major revealed religions of the world. Based on oral tradition, the Menog Khrad, or Spirit of Wisdom, written in Middle Persian, has no known author and is said to date back to the early 1500s. The text, 63 chapters in length, follows a symbolic character, Dana, meaning knowing and wise, who searches for the truth, discovering the virtue of innate wisdom. Today, we invite you to listen to excerpts of chapters 47 to 63 from Menog Khrad, the Spirit of Wisdom, one of the sacred texts of Zoroastrianism. Chapter 47. The sage asked the Spirit of Wisdom thus, "What is that thing which is the most perfect of all wealth? What is that which is predominant over everything whatever?" The Spirit of Wisdom answered thus, "It is wisdom, which is better than the wealth of every kind which is in the world. It is destiny that is predominant over everyone and everything." Chapter 49. The sage asked the Spirit of Wisdom thus, "As to these stars that are apparent in the sky, and their number is so great, what is then their duty and influence? And how is the motion of the sun and moon and stars?" The Spirit of Wisdom answered thus, "Of the stars that are in the sky, the first star is Tishtar, which is said to be great and good, more valuable and more glorious, and prosperity of every kind and the fertility of the world are in the path of Tishtar. And the star Vanat is entrusted with the passes and gates of Alborz. The remaining unnumbered and innumerable constellations that are apparent are said to be the guardian spirits of the worldly existences. Because as to the creatures and creations of every kind, that the Creator Urmast created for the worldly existence, which are procreative, and also which are developable, for every single body there is its own single guardian spirit of a like nature. And the motion of the sun and moon is the special illumination of the world, and the maturing of procreations and growth of all kinds, and the correct keeping of the day, month, and year, summer and winter, spring and autumn, and other calculations and accounts of all kinds which men ought to obtain, perceive, and understand are more fully defined by means of the setting of the sun and moon." Chapter 52. The sage asked the Spirit of Wisdom thus, "Why is it necessary to perform the ceremonies of the sacred beings and the thanksgiving for the welfare which is owing to the sacred beings? And how is the renunciation of sin to be performed for the preservation of the soul?" The Spirit of Wisdom answered thus, "Those ceremonies of the sacred beings are good that they perform in this pure, good religion of the Mazda worshippers. Its origin also is goodness and truth, and freedom from doubt in the sacred beings. And for the little and the much that has come, there has arisen thanksgiving unto the sacred beings. And one is to meditate upon the gratifications and prosperity which are owing to the sacred beings, and to keep grateful. And even when perplexity and misery come on from Ahriman and the demons, he is not to become doubtful as to the treasure of the sacred beings, and not to diminish the thanksgiving unto the sacred beings. And every disaster which springs up, he is to give back to the violence of Ahriman and the demons. He is not to seek his own welfare and advantage through the injury of anyone else, and he becomes compassionate as regards the creatures of Urmast in duty and good works. He is diligent and striving, and especially in the care of water and fire, he is to persevere much. And he is to be without doubt as to this, that, except happiness, the sacred beings do not then give anything whatever unto men, and Ahriman and the demons, except misery, do not then give them any happiness. For the existence of renunciation of sin, the special thing is this, that one commits no sin voluntarily, and if through folly or weakness and ignorance a sin occurs, he is then in renunciation of sin before the high priests and the good. And after that, when he does not commit it, then that sin which is committed by him becomes swept from his body, just as the wind, which is hasty and mighty, when it comes swift and strong, sweeps so over the plain that it carries away every single blade of grass and anything which is broken in that place. Chapter 57. The sage asked the Spirit of Wisdom thus, why is it, when the knowledge and sagacity of the spiritual and worldly existences are united, both are connected with thee? The Spirit of Wisdom answered thus, for this reason, because from the first, I who am the innate wisdom, apart from the spiritual and worldly existences, have been with Urmast. And the Creator Urmast created the angels of the spiritual and worldly creations and all the other creatures and creations through the power and mightiness, the wisdom and sagacity of innate wisdom. I produce and he maintains and stimulates them. And at the end of the renovation of the universe, it is possible to cause the annihilation and destruction of Ahriman and his miscreations more fully by the power of wisdom. And Socians with Khosrow and those who cause the resurrection and future existence are able to act more fully by means of the power and help of wisdom. The knowledge and sagacity of the worldly existence, the learning and teaching in every profession, and all advancement of temporal beings are through wisdom. The souls of the righteous, in escaping from Hades and coming to heaven and the supreme heaven, arrive much better by means of the power and protection of wisdom. And it is possible to seek the good living, good repute, and every happiness of people in the worldly existence through the power of wisdom. And the maintenance of the seeds of men and beasts of burden, oxen and sheep, and also every other creature and creation of Urmast, the Lord, the seating of them in the womb, and making manifest what is their food in the womb, so that they shall not die from hunger and thirst, and the allotment and maturing of the limbs are effected more fully by means of the durability and great potency which are in the force of wisdom. It has been a joy to have you with us for today's episode, selection from Zoroastrianism Sacred Minuye Khrad, chapters 47 to 63, part 1 of 2, on Words of Wisdom.